So there's this one school where the ghost only appears during fire drills. No one knows who this person is or where they're going, but one time they actually spoke. Every time the fire alarm goes off, the ghost appears. At first it was just a rumor, just a story to scare the new kids. But then more and more people started seeing the ghost. It became impossible to ignore. It's described as a tall, thin man, wearing a hard hat and a reflective vest. He walks slowly with a limp and always in the same direction. No matter how fast the students move, he never catches up to them. And no matter how much they try to look, they can never see his face. There have been so many theories about who this ghost is. Some say he is a worker who died on the job, and now he is cursed to walk the halls of the school forever. Others say he is a former student who died in a fire, and now he has come back to warn everyone else. But the scariest part of this story is that one time during a fire drill, the ghost spoke to someone. A girl who was walking home from school saw the ghost walking towards her. She turned around to get away, but then she heard a voice behind her say, "Run." She didn't know if it was the ghost or someone else, but she started to run anyway. She ran all the way home, and when she turned around, she saw the ghost standing at the end of her driveway. He was still looking at her and still had that same empty expression. After that day, she never went to school again. Some people say it's all just a made-up story, but others say the school is haunted and they do not want to go there because you never know what might happen. Now, before I tell you about the scariest urban legend from Japan, if you want to support the channel, make sure to subscribe. Okay, so this happened in Japan. There was a man who was walking home one night when he heard some strange noises coming from an old building. The sound was coming from inside. So he walked closer to investigate. As he got closer, he could hear the sound of footsteps and what sounded like whispers. He couldn't make out the words, but it sounded like someone was having a conversation. As he approached the door, he could see a faint light coming from under it. He hesitated for a moment, but then he pushed the door open and stepped inside. The interior was dark and dusty, but the man could see enough to make out the figures of two men standing in front of him. They were dressed in traditional Japanese clothing, and they looked like they were arguing. He called out to them, but they didn't respond. They just kept arguing and gesturing at each other. The man tried to get closer, but as he took each step, the figures seemed to move farther away from him. He felt like he was being pulled into a dream. Then suddenly, one of the figures turned around. Its face was pale and expressionless, and its eyes were black. The man screamed and ran away. He never looked back, but he could still hear the whispers following him. Every night he would hear the whispers getting closer and closer, until one night he heard them in his dreams. When he woke up, he could still hear them. So he left his house and walked into the street. As he looked around, he saw the two figures standing at the end of the road. They were beckoning to him, and he felt like he had to go to them. As he walked towards them, they kept moving farther down the road, and he never caught up to them. He chased them for hours, but it felt like days. Finally, he collapsed and woke up in a hospital. When the doctor asked him what happened, he told them about the figures and the whispers. The doctor listened patiently, then told him he was suffering from a mental breakdown. But the man knew what he had seen. To this day, he can still hear the whispers in his dreams. And every night he goes for a walk to try to find the two figures, but he never finds them.